Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel Biodiversity and Conservation. I am Subhalakshmi Raut from Ambika Prasad Research Foundation, India, continuing our UGC NET examination series for environmental science subject. And today we are going to discuss biogeochemical cycles. So it's all about the basics of biogeochemical cycles. From next part we will discuss one by one all the cycles. So, why we require biogeochemical cycles? All organisms are built up of chemical substances like the base or the fundamental particles that form our body structure, mainly composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, all those chemical substances. So, for the maintenance of various synthetic and metabolic processes in the body of organisms, it requires a constant supply of chemical elements so that there will be stability and balance in the body. And like for example, nitrogen is required for synthesis of proteins. Nitrogen along with phosphorus is required for synthesis of nucleic acids. Sulfur is required for formation of amino acids. So all these are the elements that are required in different metabolic pathways of our body, and these chemicals comes from the environment, and they enter into our body through food mainly, but it cannot be digested in the original form, so it's converted in our body into the acceptable forms. And this cyclic path of the movement of elements in the biosphere from environment to the organisms and then back to the environment, this is called the biogeochemical cycle. And here bio refers to living organisms, and geo refers to earth, and the term biogeochemical implies that biological, geological, and chemical factors are all involved in this process, and the close interaction of these biological and geochemical processes is the expression of biogeochemical cycles, and the movement of those elements and inorganic compounds which are essential for life is termed as nutrient cycling. And the but not only elements are essential for life alone which circulate in the biosphere. Many elements are found or also circulate between organisms and environment that have no biological function. So these may also enter the biogeochemical cycles along with the essential elements, and they can poison the human beings or um, other animals like insecticides or uh, radioactive elements. These are not essential for the biogeochemical cycle or our body, but they enter into these cycles through our own activities, which will act as poison in the body of human and other animals. Now, there are some types of biogeochemical cycles, mainly two groups. First one is gaseous cycle, and second one is sedimentary cycle. In the gaseous cycle, the reservoir or the main element is the atmosphere or hydrosphere. So These include the cycles of nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, and water. And in case of sedimentary cycle, the reservoir is the Earth's crust. They include the cycles of iron, calcium, phosphorus, etc. Both these involve biotic and abiotic agents. Both are driven by the flow of energy, and both are tied to the water cycle. And gaseous cycles tend to move more rapidly than sedimentary ones. Um, these are the major groups under which we can differentiate various biogeochemical cycles. Now, there is a concept about compartments and pools. So, this is the diagram showing the compartments of biological cycles. So, as we know that nutrient cycles in terms of pools of chemical elements exist in compartments. Some compartments occur in atmosphere, like carbon in carbon dioxide, nitrogen in gaseous nitrogen, etc. And some in the rocks of the lithosphere, like calcium as a constituent of calcium carbonate, all and others in the hydrosphere, the water in soil, streams, lakes, or oceans, like nitrogen in dissolved nitrate form, phosphorus in phosphate form, and carbon in carbonic acid form. So, in all these cases, the elements exist in an inorganic form, and the living organisms and dead decaying bodies can be viewed as compartments containing elements in an organic form. There is carbon in cellulose or fat, nitrogen in protein, phosphorus in ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate, etc. So, on the basis of these compartments, like uh, where elements are found, in which form shows or gives us the compartments, and any area or location of concentration of a material is a pool. So, for example, if we find more carbon um, in soil, like lithosphere, so the area or the location, like the soil, forms a pool. So there are two types of pool. Like first one is reservoir pool, which is a large, slow-moving, non-biological component, and the materials here are more or less inaccessible to life. And next one is the exchange or recycling or labile pool. This is a smaller, more active portion that is moving rapidly between organisms and their immediate environment. Here, the materials are in forms that are easily accessible to the life processes. Many elements have multiple reservoir pools, and some, like nitrogen, have multiple labile pools. That is, more they are more available um, than any other elements. Now we are going to discuss on different phases of biogeochemical cycle. So there are basically two phases, organic phase and abiotic phase. In case of organic phase, the flow of a chemical element through the food chain can be viewed as the organic phase of the biogeochemical cycle. And in case of abiotic phase, it is the function of chemistry of the elements in question, and it serves as a major reservoir for all nutrient elements external to the food chain. And this um, abiotic phase is divided into two classes. That is sedimentary phase and atmospheric phase. Here the sedimentary phase, which forms actually a part of all cycles, and atmospheric phase is possessed by some only. Like in some cycles, such as nitrogen cycle, the atmospheric phase is more important than the sedimentary. And in others, like in case of phosphorus, the atmospheric phase is essentially not non-existent. So if we have a um, cycle where the atmospheric phase is dominant, then the cycle is called atmosphere reservoir cycle. And in case where the cycles have dominant sedimentary phase, it is termed as sediment reservoir cycles. So the movement of nutrients in the abiotic phases tend to be much slower than in the organic phase, and the rapidity and direction of nutrient cycling through the abiotic phases determine not only the distribution of element in the total environment but also its availability in living systems. So, as we know, there is a relationship between energy flow and nutrient cycling in biogeochemical cycles. So the process of energy flow and biogeochemical cycles are linked together very intimately in all ecological systems, and the dissipation of energy in some form is always necessary to drive the material cycles. So energy is thus accumulated and stored in biological systems, mainly in the form of carbon compounds, and dissipated when the carbon compounds are oxidized to carbon dioxide by the metabolism of living tissue or its decomposition. Here, the carbon enters the trophic structure of a community when a simple molecule, carbon dioxide, is taken up in photosynthesis. Then the carbon cycling occurs, which shows us the importance of biogeochemical cycling in the energy flow. But there are some differences between biogeochemical cycle and energy flow. In case of biogeochemical cycle, it is the transport and transformation of chemicals in the ecosystem. It is a cyclic process in a closed system, and there is no dissipation of chemicals at any level, and the reservoir pools of energy occur on Earth. And in case of energy flow, it is the transport and transformation of energy in ecosystem, uh, and the flow of energy is unidirectional, and it occurs in an open system where the energy dissipates at each level, and the energy pools actually do not occur on Earth's surface. Now, lastly, what is the significance of the study of these biogeochemical cycles? So, as we know, human activities influence the biogeochemical cycles in many ways. They they affect when human activities increase the flow rates or reduce the storage time. These materials can become pollutants. So, for example, when we mine and process phosphate with such careless abandon, um, that severe the local pollution, which results in results from the mines and phosphate mills. Then, with equally acute myopia, we increase the input of phosphate fertilizers in agricultural systems without controlling in any way the inevitable increase in the runoff output that severely stresses our waterways and reduces our water quality through eutrophication. And next example is the use of fossil fuels and the expansion and intensification of agriculture have altered the cycles of carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, and water on a global scale. Um, so, understanding about these cycles makes us realize about the aim of conservation of natural resources in broader sense. It is to make the acyclic process more cyclic. Means when we uh, do the mining, we get the byproducts which are harmful and cannot cycle back into the earth surface as phosphate or any other form which cannot harm the soil. So this means the process is acyclic, means the last end product is not useful and cannot be used in any way. So we have to um, discover ways in which we can um, form these uh, cycles or the end products more easily useful and more easily disposable. That means making more cyclic. So the recycling of water and nutrients is a vital process in ecosystem and is increasingly becoming an important concern for humankind. There are majorly five ways for recycling, like by microbial decomposition, by animal excretions, by direct recycling from plants to plants through microbial symbionts, and by physical means involving direct action of solar energy, and lastly, by use of fossil energy as an industrial fixation of nitrogen. So, this is all about biogeochemical cycle, their basic um, points, and this is all from me today. Thank you.